6 minutes.
Cahirlock, thank you, and welcome, Minister, once again. And especially welcome to the representatives from the business community in the public gallery, and especially to Letterkenny Chamber of Commerce who've made their way up here today from Donegal. And I think anyone who knows business in the border area, there's extra difficulties in the border area where you have a sterling and euro exchange rate, and the VAT rate may be 21 or 23% or whatever, but when sterling goes up or down, it's a bigger issue. And I know that from talking to people in Letterkenny and throughout Donegal. And I know that the issue of VAT has been raised here, and no one wants to put extra taxes on, but I think that is the situation at the minute. But I think we have to get trade going again, and I don't think 1 or 2% of the VAT differential is the making or breaking of a business, but I think the overall context of getting cash flow going again, get businesses up and running again. As someone like Tony, Senator Mulcahy here, I've been in business since 27 years, since I was early 20s, in my own business, and I think the 1980s were difficult, but I think this is just as difficult this period. In the 1980s, the interest rates were 18–20%. Interest rates now are 2 and 3%. But running a business is much more difficult than it was then, in my opinion. And I feel the small business community, the SMEs, are the people who will get this country back on its feet again, because they are and have been the backbone of the economy. Because a small business, a family-run business, will be the last people to give up. They'll be the last people to leave the building, and they'll fight to the very end, because that's the tradition in the country and the tradition around, where people who set up business themselves have to. They don't do it out of chance, they do it out of determination, and generally it's passed on through generations. But the small business community have kept this country going, and they're employing hundreds of thousands. And I don't have to convince the people in the public gallery how difficult and how hard they work from a Monday morning through to a Sunday night. You know, people in 5-day week don't appreciate their jobs. When you're self-employed, it's an 8-day week, not even a 7-day week. And I know a lot of people who give out and spend their time complaining about the government and the situation. People in business don't have the time to do that, because you come into your work in the morning, you might have 1 minute to complain, and then you have to get on with business and get through the day, get through the next day. What I have noticed is years ago, not so long ago, people did budget maybe on an annual basis, but the way the economy is going, the way credit is going now, a lot of businesses are just budgeting on a monthly basis, which shows that you know how difficult the economy is out there. But as I say, anyone in small business knows you just have to get on with it. You can't depend on somebody else to look after it. But we do need, obviously, help from government. And one area I've been on the Donegal County Council, always said it on record in Donegal that the rate space was getting too small every year, and the pressure was on the business community, which are suffering at the minute more than they did in the past. But that the rate space had to be extended, because I think it could be corrected, but about 39% of all local government funding comes from commercial rates, and that can't sustain. And when I hear people getting up for the last few months on a political agenda, but don't pay your household tax, let somebody else pay it, Europe will pay it, I don't want to pay it. Well, you may have a small business in a street who are paying maybe 3,000 or 4,000 of rates in a small shop, just keeping the door open and maybe employing 2 family members and a couple of others, and the guy next door who's in a private house, worth probably more than the business is worth, refusing to pay €100. And I think the public must realise that the small business community, if they have to suffer any more, then the jobs won't be there for their children and their friends and their neighbours. That without local funding coming spread across, and I have no problem paying the 100, and most people in the country have no problem paying the 100, but we have to spread it out. The business community is getting smaller, and I assumed when rates were formulated 150 years ago, whatever, you needed a building to have a business. People didn't have businesses then. They didn't have laptops. They didn't have cars to drive around. So every business then needed a premises. There are a lot of people now who are in business are doing fairly well. They don't contribute to the community through your rates, because obviously they don't have a building. So we have to reevaluate the whole rate system. And the Minister, there are other anomalies as well, which maybe you could address. And thank you, Cahirlock. in an area of rates where a local authority, and I've had this experience myself in a town council or county council, I brought in a motion to say that we can give a reduction of rates for new business, that the law doesn't allow that. And I know the County Enterprise Board, which I was a member of for several years, can give grants to small businesses, providing that that business doesn't interfere with one in the same street that's doing the same business. I think the County Council could do the same. They should look at the market and how the market would operate normally if a building is left empty, that they would encourage people to take it over. And secondly, in a lot of cases where there's a rates owed on a building, that the next tenant coming in is liable for those rates as well, which I think is unfair. I think if it was run as a business by people like people in the public gallery, that they would get a lot of the empty buildings filled up again. And even if they give a 50% reduction or 10% reduction, something to get those properties opened again, that there's activity in the street. There's nothing worse than driving through a town and seeing to let signs up and boarded up windows and maybe paintings in the windows just to cover up the fact that the building's closed down. So I think, Minister, we should look at those anomalies where a town council or a county council could say in certain designated areas of their town that we could give a rates reduction for new businesses, provided obviously that they're not interfering with a similar business in the town. But there are many people here who want to get into business, and as the Senator says, there's 400,000 people unemployed. There's a lot of people there who just need that incentive and that extra push from the government to get into business. And when that happens, for every job, there's more jobs created from that, and the cash flow starts. And as I say, to finally finish, Minister, thank you, that it will be the small business community who will bring this country out of recession, as they've done in the past. And I wish them good luck in the future. And Minister, please act on these proposals. Thank you.